Here we talk about why I wear purple. It's not just for a fashion statement, although maybe anybody want to buy one. We might be selling them $10 bucks. What do we got? $10 out there? Anybody? Come on, we can get more people wearing these coats, right? So really, why I wear purple is because I lost my dad to Alzheimer's, and really, I don't want to see anybody else going through that. So today, I want to talk a little bit about kind of what it's like to be a caregiver of somebody who's had Alzheimer's, what it's like to kind of go through that. And then what I've done to kind of bring that into my business to share that element of being a caregiver and of supporting a charity of some sort into my business to help grow the business as well. So you'll see right up here we've got my Alzheimer's Slayer, my youngest son. This is Tucker. And then in the middle is my dad. That's Dewey. And then my other son, Kip, is on the other side. So that's really what I would do it for. And they disappeared. There we go. It happens. That's okay. It's okay. Gremlins. So we do it so that we don't lose memories like that, right? We don't want the things to just disappear in our head and to have things to change. And so we do it to try and fight to protect our brains and to work for the Alzheimer's Association to help build that up. All right. So in our family, we've gone through a lot of generations of Alzheimer's. I don't know if Kara even knows this, but I grew up with my grandpa. We went to see him at the nursing home, and I was probably 6 or 7, and we'd go to visit him, and we'd walk in, and many times he wouldn't know my name, right? We've always been there. We've walked in, and your grandpa doesn't remember your name, and it was sad. It was one of the biggest pieces that I had to remember of him was him not remembering my name. It's just really kind of scary. So then I unfortunately wasn't able to get a picture of him. He was emo. His wife, Esther, is here. She also had some dementia towards the end of her life. And then her daughter, Judy, is right here as well. She had dementia for about 5 years at the end of her life. And her husband, Alan, also had dementia for about 5-10 years of his life. So it really has affected our family a lot. We've had a lot of people go through this. It's really just tough to see when it disappears. So it's just tough to see people go through that. One of the stories about Alan and Judy, they were out and they got into their vehicle. They were in a nursing home in Moorhead, and a little bit later we got a phone call saying they're not here, they're not here. Well, then we got a phone call from their old neighbors. They had somehow talked to somebody and given them a ride from North Moorhead all the way to South Moorhead to get back to their old house. I don't know how they did that, right? But they lose their memories, they lose who they are, but at the same time, they remember so much of where they once were, where they belonged, right? So that's just been a very tough piece to see that happen for so many people. Anybody in here go through Alzheimer's or have somebody connected to it? Let's raise hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you know it's actually about 1 in 3 that will have Alzheimer's, and the other 2 are going to be the caregivers for those people. So really we try to help, at the Alzheimer's Association, try to help people understand how to care for those people. Right? We want to help protect those memories. This is my dad at Christmas time when we were young. And really it's one of the biggest memories for me is remembering these memories, because the memories, when he had lost his memory, it's a lot of memories. When he had lost his memory, it was hard to connect with him. Right? And so it's trying to remember to connect these memories back to that. All right. One of the biggest memories that I have recently of him is going to see a Vikings game with him. When the stadium reopened up, got to be out there and hang out with him, and he was actually quite well at that time. A lot of his memory issues ended up being where he would have very short-term memory loss. So you talk to him, and about 5-6 minutes later, again, you'd be asking him again, hey, how's your day going? And you talk, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm excited to, go to my kid's baseball game. And 5 more minutes later, hey, how's your day going? So continually rotated through that. So one of these days when we were at the game, he was very excited to be out there. And I was a Vikings fan, so it was very fun to take him there and to see that and build that memory for myself. A lot of these memories are memories that I built for myself that I want to hold on to. I want to bring those memories to my kids, and I want to be able to support them. My dad was a farmer and spent many, many nights and weekends out in the fields, and so we missed him at home. He'd be out there, and he'd finally get home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and we'd have a second dinner together. And I remember those moments, but I don't remember hanging out with him. So now when I've got my kids, I'm trying my best to find ways to be at home more with them, to be more involved in their lives, to be able to be more accessible to that, so I can create these memories longer in my life that hopefully I'll have more to remember when I get to this point, and hopefully they'll have more to remember of me if by chance I struggled from some dementia. So when I lost my dad at, 3 years ago, I said, this sucks. I don't want to see anybody go through this, right? He'd gone through about 8 years of dementia at the time. He was really getting down to the point of not remembering who he was, and I didn't want anybody to go through that. So I came up with a program called Closing for a Cure. I wanted to find a way to help solve Alzheimer's. And as a realtor, I was like, well, how do I do that? I want to raise $100,000. How do I do that? And so I started at that point in time with giving back 10% of my commissions to the Alzheimer's Association. The Alzheimer's Association had been there for me as my dad was out there driving around and not knowing where his house was. I was able to call, they have an 800 number, and I was able to call that and ask for help on how do you find a dad when he's driving into, where would he go? What doctors do I go to for this? They were able to help and support us when he would be talking to my mom and they'd be wanting to go to bed, and he would want to crawl into bed and go, where's my wife? I want my wife to be here, and she would be right next to him. We didn't know the answer to that, and we had to call and ask for, like, how do you redirect somebody who's going through such a hard piece of wanting to go to bed with your wife, and your wife's right next to you, and, you know, it's not the right person, it's not the right house. So I wanted to give back. I wanted to find a way to support that and to fight the Alzheimer's, or to provide research for those types of things. So I started with the Closing for a Cure program, and so 10% of my commissions goes back from that. But truly what Kara, I think, wanted me to talk about was the longest open house that I just got done with, and everything else. So, it really does not like me, does it? Every week? Well, let's just call it, anyways. So these are a few of the clients that have helped with the Closing for a Cure program. These are people who have bought houses and talked about Alzheimer's, talked about some Alzheimer in their family, and then again, 10% of that commission goes back to help raise that Alzheimer's. So right now we're at about $25,000 that I've raised in the last 4 years to fight Alzheimer's through that program. And then coming up to, sorry, I forgot which way I put this. When we got into, after I started the Closing for a Cure program, I started working a lot more with the Alzheimer's Association and talking about what it's like to be a caregiver. So if the video wants to work with me, I've got a video we put together for about 3 years ago for Giving Hearts Day, and kind of what it's like to be a caregiver. This is some love letters written by spouses of people who are going through dementia right now.
Hello, I'm Natalie with Froggy 99.9, and I wrote a letter for my grandma, Thelma, who passed away almost 5 years ago.
This is my love letter to him, to my husband, my hero.
Is a love letter to my wife, my wife Debbie, who is living with Alzheimer's disease.
You had the softest hands people ever knew, and a faith that is hard to match.
The doctor's words, I'm sorry, still resonate with me. As I sat crying, knowing our children will also be at risk and uncertain of what the future holds, you consoled me. You said, it's not what you're dealt in life, it's how you deal with it. Your quote is what we live by today.
Debbie, throughout our marriage, when things were not going well, we would make a list of all the positive things in our life. It was much longer than the negative. That task is now more difficult, but we have always appreciated our blessings.
To say I'm proud of you is an understatement. You continue to be a part of Alzheimer's research and clinical drug trials, and you work hard at everything you do. Upon receiving that devastating news, you knew contributing in any way to help find a cure, or at least slow the progression of this disease, was something you and our family would pour their heart and soul into.
But we have always appreciated our blessings. I know that you are not the same person I spent most of my life. You have tested my love for you and my faith. I always wondered if I really meant it when I said, in sickness and in health, and now I know.
I remember well when I would visit you, your grip was so strong that my hand in yours would bind. My last visit to you was when you were 81 years old. That was about 5 years ago. And when I saw you, you could hardly breathe. And it was all because of Alzheimer's. What a horrible disease.
Time together is something the children and I treasure. We realize that any day could be one of our last days on earth. so we will continue to live one day at a time and enjoy the memories we make along the way.
Living with the person you love is not perfect, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you are difficult and get angry with me, but I know deep down in my heart you still love me.
It seems unfair what this disease has stolen from your family. You've lost 3 of your beloved siblings to early onset Alzheimer's, all in their 50s. As your brother and best friend Doug lay dying of this disease, you knelt down beside him whispering, "It's okay to go. You fought a good fight, and we'll continue fighting for a cure. Love you, Doug." Those words were the last words your brother heard as he took his last breath.
You always wrote everything down in many books, the joyous times and your feelings, because you never wanted to forget.
Our love for each other is amazing and one of the best things I will ever experience. You will always be my oracle, regardless of our situation.
Dean, I love you with my every being. I love how you have chosen to handle everything life has thrown our way, and I appreciate your love for life. You and our family and all of our other Alzheimer's warriors will continue to fight. One day, we will have our first Alzheimer's survivor. You are my hero. Your proud wife, Deb.
You still give me guidance and inspiration. You have given me a new purpose in life and a reason to get up every morning. Even though you don't know it, you continue to make me a better person. We've had so many wonderful and exciting adventures with family and friends. We have been blessed with a fulfilling life and wonderful marriage. You are more than I hoped for and better than I deserved. My love to you has never been stronger. I love you. Bless.
Then the disease took your words away, leaving everyone confused, sad, and upset. I love you so much, and I'll see you someday again, Grandma. And I hope someday there's going to be a cure for Alzheimer's.
I don't want to get to that one yet. But anyways, so yeah, as you can see, it touches everybody. I mean, as a kid going through it and watching your dad, it's tough. But as a spouse, I can't even imagine. I see my mom going through it and trying to understand, you know, how she lost her spouse for 10 years and had to say goodbye for 10 years, and now, you know, living the rest of the life after that. It's really tough. So like I said, I'm trying to find a way to raise a ton of money for that, so we can find research, so we can provide services, provide classes for people who are going through that, provide an 800 number that's open 24 hours a day so that people can call when they're having issues with Alzheimer's and dementia, and like how to help their loved one through that process. So this last weekend? I think it was last weekend. It's blurred so much. The 17th to the 19th is when it was. I held the longest open house. I even talked about that in here with you guys before, I think, when Mayor Mahoney was here. But I held an open house for 63 hours long. It is a world record open house. It is the longest open house as far as I'm aware in history. It was live on Facebook the entire time throughout the day, and then live in the evening, and even tried to get Kara to watch me in the evening. She had fun with it, and Pam was watching. It was a fun time. I wore the purple suit for parts of it, did lots of crazy things. We had beanbag toss tournament and a gaming tournament in there out in Horace. It just really made a big community event. And we ended up raising $13,000 in 3 days. And we had 48 donors help us with it. We had 41 hours of streaming online to try and get people to make awareness of this and understand what Alzheimer's is, and how there's support out there for those who are going through this. So, did you sell the house? Working on it. Then we get another 10% back, right? What do we got for time? Good time over there?
You still got 10
10 minutes?
minutes.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I wanted to say also that that's not the only cause that I've worked for. I've also worked with the Real Men Wear Pink campaign for cancer, and I wore a pink suit, purple suit, pink suit. Why not? Let's just try them all, right? And so this one I did for the Alzheimer's, or for the American Cancer Society. which I thought was kind of a fun one, which is also, again, talking about the family and the support that I put it together for.
Kyle, are you ready to wear the last suit you will ever wear?
I wore pink for my cousin Sabrina, who at 19 years old battled breast cancer, survived, now is raising 2 children against all odds. I wore pink for my cousin Romley, who discovered her cancer early and was able to have a great prognosis after radiation. I wear pink for my aunt Artis, who passed away from breast cancer when I was a child. I wear pink for my aunt Judy, my grandma Evelyn, and Esther, who all 3 battled cancer and beat it. I wear pink for all those who don't get to choose if they're going to wear pink. So yeah, I go a little crazy on helping and supporting causes, as many have hopefully seen through this. But I find that in supporting those causes, it has given me purpose in so much more of my business. It's allowed me to meet so many more people, connect more deeply with people like Kara who have gone through this stuff, and truly build those relationships, because I've found in my business that has been truly what has helped me grow and given purpose to why I want to even do business, right? I could go sit at home and be on a couch and do nothing, but when I'm able to help and support a cause like this, or the Alzheimer's Association or the cancer, how can I give back in my life and help that? And then hopefully people see it and want to help work with me to find more ways to provide more funds to help support those items. So it's definitely been a great way to really bring purpose and cause to my business. So I guess that is the end of the slideshow. Anybody have any questions on the Alzheimer's Association or how that helps? Yes?
Okay, talk about Alzheimer. How about dementia? What's the difference, the same? I mean, could you explain it a little bit better?
So yeah, Alzheimer's is actually an umbrella for a lot of different types of dementias. So dementia, Lewy body. My mom sent me a thing about there's about 8 or 10 different types of dementia out there that are truly all embodied within that. But the Alzheimer's Association is there to help anybody who's going through any dementias at all. So it's definitely. Yes, Kara.
How has this affected or influenced your children?
Well, my kids get involved quite heavily with it, as Kara's probably pointing to. A lot of the times I'm also the walk chair captain for the walk in September, and my kids come out there and help every time. They for the longest open house, my oldest son was out there for 36 hours long, so they get to be part of Dad's cause, be part of what's going on in the world, instead of just, again, playing video games. Although he did play video games and whatever, but he did it for the cause. He figured out how to do that for the cause. So it's nice to see that and to build those memories, as I talked about in the beginning. I want to fight for these memories. I want to create these memories, but I want to bring my kids along to understand why we're doing it and being part of it. And I think they've found so many different ways that they want to get out there and help. My son, he'll be like, I want to have a lemonade stand, but I want the funds to go back to the Alzheimer's Association, right? Or a toy sale or whatever. They're always talking about how they can come up with something different to help the Alzheimer's Association. I think it's been kind of cool to see at least having some sort of a caring heart being pulled out of that from them. Yes, sir.
Walk us through the logistics of a multi-day open house. When do you eat? When do you sleep? Do you have time to use the restroom? I mean, how in the world does this work?
How in the world does it work? Exactly. So, started at 7 a.m. on Friday morning. We had a radio station in there at the time, had the coffee club in there from WDAY, live from there. And then throughout the day, we had the beanbag putt toss tournament. I had somebody bring in lunch for us before then. And then throughout the evening, I would sleep in the house, but I'd still be live every hour. So I'd set my alarm for every hour and do a Facebook Live, 4 a.m. They're really fun ones. If you watch my Facebook Lives, they're really fun at 4 a.m.
And once again, you had on Alzheimer's pajamas.
I had fancy Alzheimer's pajamas, because what's going to catch our scroll on social media is some sort of fun excitement, right? It's not that I do it because I want to wear purple or I want to, wear fun pajamas. It's because I want to catch your attention to hopefully raise some funds. So, so we made it through all 2 nights and until Sunday at 10 p.m. We had a ton of we had food trucks come out. We had just a great music out there on Saturday night. And so I found, because I did this actually my second time doing it. Last year I did 62 hours. This year I did 63. I plan on doing it for 10 years. But when we did it last year, I found out that I was really bored. So I had to figure out ways to invite people to come out to be part of it and get my friends to not only donate money, but come in and hang out and help. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun, though. And then, if you have to go, what I would do for safety is I would lock the door at night. But I would just say, ring the doorbell. Yet to find anybody who will come visit me at 4 a.m. yet. So maybe next year Kara will show up at 4 a.m. Had a few last year at like 11. We did have, actually, Deb, who was in that video here, she joined us live on Facebook at 3 a.m. She's the one who has 4 brothers who are going through Alzheimer's. So she was able to join me at 3 a.m. after they got done playing some Pinochle, so that was a lot of fun. Really connecting with people.
Finished playing Pinochle and came to join you at 3 a.m.?
Well, she was live. I think she was out in Bismarck. She was on Facebook Live. I don't know how she even knew how to do it. I figured, I didn't think she would join us, but.
What about treatment progress? Is there, are we making some advances, or?
So we are making some advances. They came out with a new drug last year that was supposed to be very helpful. Unfortunately, this year they kind of disproven that it's been as helpful as they were hoping for. So that is definitely a problem. They do have a lot of potentially slowing down, but there's no cure for Alzheimer's yet. So there is a lot of research in that and a lot of legislation to get more funding to support that, because again, we are one of the largest causes of death in the United States, and so much more funds go to many more causes that are not even as affected within it. So I've done a lot of legislation work as well, and actually been able to connect with some of them in that regards too. It's been fun. Yes?
Just wondering, are you familiar with the organization, the Memory Cafe?
Yep, Deb over there has been fantastic.
Yeah. About providing services to people going through it.
Yeah, so Memory Cafe allows people to have some kind of respite care and some other opportunities to help those people who are going through it as well as so forth. So, yeah, they partner well with the Alzheimer's Association and help them too.
Any final questions for Kyle? I just want to say Kyle's been, he's a motivator. He's full of passion. He's got great ideas. It's just fun. He's I don't know if you ever get tired. I think you get tired maybe at about 3 a.m.
Yeah, there's the social proof of that.
But it's pretty amazing, and it doesn't matter what it's for. If it's for his children, for an activity they're doing, or if it's for a big project like this for Alzheimer's or for American Cancer Society. It's just really, and I want to say thank you for all of that, because that influences everyone, and it's influenced me. So I want to say thank you.